everybody. Time to rise and shine. I'm Shelby Barrett, the STONED for the STONED Roadie Show, and it's time to wake and bake with Craig Reed and Griff Martin.
Yeah, Craig talks about fat folks and cigarette smokers too. So if you're fat and like to smoke, you might poke a little fun at you. Yeah, Craig likes telling it like it is, so it's something that you want to know. If the feelings get hurt real easy, you better not watch the show.
It's the STONED Roadie Show, podcast 204, Wake and Bake, the Morning Buzz, episode number 83, action. Alrighty there, fellow Earthlings, looky here, it's Friday, it's August 2nd, 2024, and it's another Wake and Bake morning show. My name's Craig Reed, aka the STONED Roadie, also known on FakeBook, as y'all know, as the world's most famous roadie ever since the dinosaurs roamed this flat earth and then froze to death. And caused these mountains we're seeing. And and my co-host, the rocket scientist from the fake moon landing, the rocket scientist, my co-host, Griff Martin. So what the hell are we going to talk about this Friday morning there, Griff?
I was something I didn't mention to you, Craig. Usually Craig and I talk about stuff before we come on. We probably ought to start playing it as soon as we get, because we talk a lot of crazy crap. But I was watching this. I didn't watch it. I saw that they had at the Olympics this boxing match where this transgender dude beat the shit out of this girl, and I was like, really? I mean, how is that? Did you see that, Craig, at the Olympics?
Yes, I did. That was ridiculous.
I mean, why are we even having a conversation about it?
Well, women wanted to be, they want to be equal to men, and they want to be the same paid. No, they do. They want to be paid the same salary that men, pro basketball players get paid. I mean, they want equal, so they're kind of getting what they wish for, but they see they can't hold up their end of the stick, but it sucks. It's ridiculous is what it is, but this whole damn world's ridiculous. Oh my God, it's crazy. I turn on my this media, man, and all I see is flat earth and spherical earth and all the shit they're putting on our food and God, all the phony things a woman can do to herself. The only thing real about a woman these days is the fat. That's real. They get, it cracks me up, man. These big old fat women get out of their shiny car. They can't drive a car unless it's washed and shiny, and they get out of that car with their Gucci purse and their high heels and their mini skirt with the fat hanging off and the cottage cheese hanging off their thighs, and they care about things they own, but they don't care about their self. Nobody cares about their self anymore. It's kind of obvious. If you cared about yourself, you wouldn't be obese. I mean, God, isn't that common sense? If you liked yourself, you wouldn't be fat. I mean,
but if you have a bunch of fat friends, though, Craig, then you don't care. It's like, if all my friends are fat, then I can be fat too. So they just go find like some fat friends.
They're all this fake food they're making, and they talk about how they're putting all this stuff in the food to make people fat, and lo and behold, everybody's fat, but everybody claims they're not one of the sheep, but it just cracks me up. It seems like that's what y'all are, just a bunch of damn sheep. Everybody's just, that y'all look the same. You're all fat. It's kind of funny. I bet the people up there holding the strings, making you people dance around like a bunch of fools, or just laughing at you because you're all so damn fat. Look what we did to them in 20 years. We made them all obese. Ha ha ha! Look at them down there waddling around.
Well, I judge the wokeness factor by the line at McDonald's. Because if anybody's going to McDonald's and eating that crap, then you might as well
You deserve to be fat.
just eat some damn poison. You might as well just go down to the hardware store and buy some arsenic and start licking it, because it's the same thing, man. And if you don't know it, then it's your own fault, because it's quite obvious that they've had enough stuff on the internet that tells you it's all poison. So, but anyway, we'll jump out of that category. And didn't you say you got another donation, Craig?
Oh yeah, I sure did. Oh, I got a hat too the other day, and in case I want to thank you for sending me that hat. In case I didn't thank you before, Rock and Roll Relic. That's me.
Yeah, that's cool.
He asked me what size I wore, and I told him I wore a 7 5/8, so it's a fitted hat. Yeah, it's a nice.
Yeah, that's great, man. You got a fitted hat like that, and Craig will wear that thing too. Whoever got that, he'll definitely wear it. I mean, he don't mess around.
Relic. Yeah, that's me, Rock and Roll Relic. Yeah.
You got some big event coming up there locally that you're going to be going to.
We got a my class reunion kind of thing this year. They're having like that band Murphy's Law. My friend Steve Etheridge is in that band. He donated on the last round and to the Survivor Fund. And yeah, they're playing at the Green amphitheater. It's just a little bitty place here in the city of Green, but yeah, I'm gonna go there. And they're kind of like making it like a alumni class reunion. It's an outdoor concert from 7 to 9 tomorrow, Saturday. Yeah, so come on down. It's a good band. Yeah, Murphy's Law, they're a good band. But so
wear your new hat for that. Oh, that's right. Yeah,
we got a donation. Yeah, Steve Pitt. Yeah,
Steve Pitt. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
$300 and that's supposed to go.
I guess
to who?
I just he said I just friend requested him on FakeBook. He said thanks for accepting my friend request. He said I just found you and said he wanted to wanted me to give $100 to Gene and $100 to Leslie and $100 to Mark Howard. So that's what we'll do. And oh yeah, I had to take my computer in again and try to find some stuff. And I had an Excel file and it was on Windows 10. So now I have Windows 11. So I spent, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours putting this Excel sheet on for all the donations everybody sent in and who sent in how much and how people that sent in specially for individuals. I had it all on. You all know an Excel sheet. It's about the only way you can really do it and specify like that. So I had that all put together, and then when I changed back to Windows 11, I lost all that. But I didn't lose these. I have one of them for everybody that ever sent anything out. Every time somebody sends out something in, I put it on these, and I still have that whole folder. I just got to go through and individual it and do that whole Excel sheet again. So. But yeah, that's my excuse. But at least everything's fixed now. I finally got my stuff off my scanner. I got it back, and but I don't have Excel. That's gone. But at least
you have all those sheets that you saved. Yeah.
I'm sure there's one person out there that probably hire somebody to watch these podcasts and keep track of people that send money in, and then make sure I don't all that money I took in goes out to the people that are supposed to get it. I think there's somebody out there that's probably keeping track of this and keep me.
Yeah, and then you got to keep track of the people that won their prizes.
Oh yeah, I got it. I got all that on sheets. Yeah, that's matter of fact, that's right here. I got that whole list right here. Got that whole list. I got it together.
I was talking to my buddy Jay yesterday, and he was. We both knew that. I live in Winter Haven, Florida, and we both knew that Graham Parsons was born here. Graham Parsons of the that band, the Flying Burrito Brothers, and he was big buddies with Keith Richards and Jim Stafford, and was in his band, and Bernie Ledden from the Eagles. And I was just wondering if you guys might want me to do a little on the road, which would be really in my town, with Griff Martin. And I know there's a house where he grew up. I could go over there and videotape that. And then there's a place that his dad, it was like it's a place downtown where they used to go and play concerts and things. And I could do a little thing on Graham Parsons. If anybody's interested in that, leave it in the comments. Not sure, I know it's not really much to do with Lynyrd Skynyrd, but he was a pretty talented guy, and he died when he was 26, and it's really a great, interesting story. So if anybody's interested in that, let me know, and I'll do a little thing on it, and we'll pursue that. Then I finally got to talk to, I didn't talk to her, but I was messaging with her, Shelby Barrett, our Stoned, and I think she might be coming on Sunday. I'm going to try to get her to come on the podcast Sunday if her computer will hook up, and we'll find out what she's been up to.
Well, you gave her a computer to do that with.
Yeah, I sent her a laptop, or I got it from Kent Griffith. Yeah, so we want to test it out. So she's back home now, and she's been doing some traveling, and so she's ready to start coming on the podcast. We'll get her on here, and then I've got all these comments and questions that we can go over, and other than that, it's just going to be the regular jibber jabber. We don't have anything at the end to put on. Some people were asking, where's the Gene Odom? Well, that thing's over. That ended. That's already. And if you didn't get to see it, go back and look at it. It was pretty good. And I think Gene's back in town. He was up. I forget where he was, up there near New York or something, and did some kind of thing. I need to call him and find out how that went. But yeah, we'll go ahead and jump into these questions and comments. Are you ready, Craig?
I'm ready, yeah.
You all tuned up, ready to answer questions?
I'm ready, yeah. I'm ready as I'll ever be.
Oh, okay. This is podcast 204, and it's Friday, and thanks for all the great comments. And anybody who's joining the podcast for the first time, Craig is the most famous roadie in rock and roll history, and he worked for Lynyrd Skynyrd. And we accept donations for the plane crash survivors. Craig kind of wants to help his fellow buddies out. And if anybody wants to donate anything to the podcast and pick your survivor, we've got 5 that we support. Which Mark Howard, Mark Frank, Gene Odom, Leslie Hawkins, and who am I missing, Craig? Paul Welch, yeah. So those guys, they really appreciate, when they get some extra money, and we'll take $5, man. Anything helps. Those guys are all kind of struggling right now. So, and then what we do is we interact with our subscribers, and they leave comments and questions, and we
even if you only send in $5, I'll make you famous.
Yeah. And then every now and then we have contests, and we give some cool stuff away. Nobody's got it yet, but they'll get it eventually when Craig gets around to it. And if anybody at this point, if I was supposed to mail them something, like I've been people, I've got some necklaces here that's got some Hell House Dockwood that some people have bought from me, and that goes to On the Road with Griff Martin whenever I do my traveling, those funds. And I've got some Hell House Dockwood in these necklaces here, and I remember somebody saying the necklace is in here. It's a little glass vial with some Hell House Dockwood, and if you rub that on your guitar fret, then you'll be able to play Freebird without hardly even trying. But I'll put a email up there so you guys can contact me, and I've actually been making some custom bongs for people. Well, we don't call them bongs; we call them water pipes.
Hey, can you talk for about 30 more seconds? I'm gonna go get some tea. I forgot.
Yeah, I can jibber jabber a little bit while you're gone.
Okay.
What I'll do is I'll go in here and I'll go down to there's somebody that asked a question. They wanted to know about we were talking about Sally Arnold and how she didn't like something in this book, Turn It Up, that Ron Eckerman wrote, and he had said something about Dean Kilpatrick in there that she didn't like. And Craig was going to comment on that, and he knows about that. And one of our subscribers found where it was actually written in the book here, and I can go ahead and read that right now. It's actually on page 17 in the Ron Eckerman book. Turn my light around here so I can see. When you get old, you can't see. And so what I'll do is I'll go back up. I can't get right to that paragraph where it talks about it, but without it making sense. So I'll start a little bit back, a page back, so you can kind of see what's going on. Yeah, so Ron Eckerman, in this book, he talks about a lot of his experiences being on the road with Lynyrd Skynyrd, and there's really a lot of great information in here. And so he says, I had worked 3 days straight without sleep in preparation for the event, and it was the venue they were at. So on show day one, was found fast preparation for the event. So on show day one, I was fast asleep in the Eagles dressing room. When I awoke, the Eagles had landed, and they were being extremely quiet and were speaking in whispers so they wouldn't disturb me. So I guess he was in their dressing room, and they didn't want to wake him up, and they were in there whispering, and he says, I soon discovered that the show had begun hours ago. My work having been completed by various friends and employees, I came around quickly, thanked the guys for letting me sleep, and excused myself from the dressing room. I mean, how cool is that? You're in the Eagles dressing room, and you're sleeping, sound asleep, and they come in there and they're being quiet because they don't want to wake you up. He said they had to be relieved. It must have been impossible to prepare for a show when you're tiptoeing around the dressing room while somebody's asleep. It took a while to reorient myself and figure out where we were in the schedule, and I was shocked to discover I had slept through about half of the performances. It was damn near time for the Eagles to perform, followed by the Stones. The Eagles brought the crowd to their feet. Although I enjoyed the band, their music was a bit too tame for my tastes. So I wandered around backstage, checking security, dressing rooms, and a host of other things during their set. Bill Graham, who was co-promoting the show, had arrived, so things got even tighter and, true to form, extremely tense. Bill always made people tense. Did he do that? Bill Graham made people tense?
I suppose some people he did. I didn't me.
Yeah.
I got along pretty good with Bill. I didn't know him that well, but I knew him pretty good.
Yeah, he says, well, he was a legend and a bit of a bully, is what he says.
Yeah, he could be, I guess.
I guess you have to be in that position, you know. He always got what he wanted, he says. I had
Well,
just
then,
finished securing the ramp loading to the stage and was turning around to climb back up to the dressing rooms. It was 100 yards or so back to the top, and I had only managed about 50 of it when I saw some clown in a purple cape twisting and turning, dancing his way towards me down the ramp, evidently intent on reaching the field where the stage was set up. I figured he was some stoned out hippie who had managed to sneak by security, so I silently crept up behind him and grabbed him full force in a bear hug. I was willing to physically remove him as he was small enough and figured I could simply carry him out. I wasn't going to take the chance of him getting away. So there I was, my arms wrapped around this character, holding him tighter than a steel trap, about to lift him off the ground, and he turned his head and looked at me in the eye. I instantly released my grip and apologized. He stepped back, looking both angry and confused, and broke into a wide smile. Well, that's a bit rude. I don't throw out many performers. I'm not the first then, he said. He asked, his feet starting to move, getting back to some rhythm only he could hear. No, I threw Van Morrison out once. Me and Van, he said, honorable company at least. I guess so, Mick. Sorry. So he had a hold of Mick Jagger. He didn't know it was Mick Jagger, which is pretty funny. And Mick goes, "It's all right, mate. Can I go now?" "Absolutely," I laughed and watched as he spun his way down the ramp until he was just out of the audience sight. I looked up to see the rest of the band starting down, so I proceeded to the stage in front of them, making sure there weren't any other loonies like Mick that might be waiting in the shadows. I walked away from the meeting with Alan with a packet of information on the band, their current itinerary, and a strong word of warning. Do not under any circumstances let Dean Kilpatrick, their personal attendant, who would be my assistant, hold money, your briefcase, or any other important document or anything else that you wish to keep. He handed me my airline ticket to Jacksonville, wished me luck, and we parted ways. So why is it, Craig, that you can't let Dean have any money or anything that's important?
I don't know. That's a weird one. I suppose it's because we once had a road manager, Gary. I'll just say Gary, but he was one of our original road managers, and he kind of partied like Dean, you know, and I went into his room one time, and the door was open, and there's like 10 grand laying on the bed, and there's just and in that kind of situation, stuff just grows legs and walks away. But so I went and got the band guys. I said, "Hey, come with me," and I took them down to Gary's room and said, "Here, looky here," and he's laying there, about 10 grand in cash, laying on the bed, passed out drunk, door wide open.
Damn.
Yeah, he was a road man. So that's kind of probably the same scenario they thought Dean might end up in, I guess.
Well, it wasn't Ron
like
Eckerman
me.
that said that about him, though. It was somebody else saying that to Ron, not Ron.
Yeah,
saying that.
yeah. Peter Rudge. Yeah, Peter Rudge said that to Ron. Yeah.
So I don't know if that might be what she's talking about. That's the only thing bad that I mean, somebody brought that part to my attention, thanks to the one
I
of the
saw that too. But
subscribers.
that would be the only scenario I could think of, just because Dean had a lot of people in his room, and Dean was known to party, and it might end up in the same kind of a situation that Gary Bouchard, had, so we're,
Unless maybe he just.
Because
Well, I mean,
Dean had a habit of kind of leaving his door ajar so people could just walk in.
so it wasn't
You know?
anything that he did viciously.
No, it wasn't
It's just-
anything
he
like
was
he was doing anything that was devious or anything. It was just something he might not have been kind of responsible in certain areas for certain reasons.
Yeah, it
For
wasn't
holding
like
cash,
wasn't like he was a bad
because
person.
any kind of that rock and roll memorabilia stuff just kind of walks off. People come in your room, they'll just take anything that's not nailed down. A
Oh,
briefcase or something, they'll just pick it up and take it. So if you got important papers in there, they'll just come up missing.
How about all the musicians that have had their guitars stolen? I mean, if you're a famous musician, you've had at least one or two guitars stolen from you in your lifetime.
Yeah. Mhm.
I mean, Peter Frampton, I remember that there's a cool story about that guitar that he lost in that plane crash, which was
Oh
actually,
God, yeah. When you have people in your room, if you have multiple people in your room, God, yeah, they're looking for anything. T-shirts, they're looking for anything they can pick up and walk away with. You never know.
yeah. So if that isn't it, if somebody's seen anything else in Ron's book, let me know and we'll discuss it. If it has to do with Dean doing something that she might.
No,
Other than
and
that,
Ron liked Dean, and like you said, that Ron didn't say that about Dean. Peter Rudge said that about Dean.
yeah, yeah. So so maybe we'll
So-
just have to get Sally Arnold back on here and ask her about that. I don't know. She she might not be too happy about us even mentioning it, but I don't think. I mean, I don't think she would care. But anyway,
did you see Mick Jagger in the Olympics sitting there in the audience and with those people?
was that real?
I think it was. I think it was. Yeah, Mick Jagger.
Yeah, they didn't
And
even
then-
know it was him.
Yeah, Mick was sitting there in the audience watching the Olympics with all these people, and they didn't know it was him. Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if that was real or not. I don't know.
I don't
man.
know.
Why would
I
Mick
saw
be
it,
sitting? He would
Hard to
have
tell
like
it. These days, it's hard to tell what's real and fake. My God, you can't. It's unbelievable. You just don't.
yeah. I think they would give him a special seat. I don't know. But anyway, we'll get back into these other comments here. Palo Vincent, any let me see. Oh, my question has been deleted, or maybe you guys don't want to answer it. Well, we get to some of them. We don't answer all of them. We try our best. And
Is that Mr. Caps? Yeah, I deleted Mr.
No, that isn't Mr. Caps. And
I
I
saw
guess
one
he
of those
says,
caps. I just deleted it. I was sick of looking
well,
at it.
and that's the thing, I mean, if somebody wants to keep acting up in the comments, Craig can delete you. He can go in there and just take you off.
I told him I would. I said, you keep writing in caps, I'm just going to delete you. So he wrote in caps, so I deleted him.
Well, he's still writing in caps, but he ain't acting up now. But yeah, Palo Vincent says, is Gene pissed because Ronnie got up on the plane and walked around and said said goodbye to Craig and shook Artie's hand? Well, there's depending on who you talk to, there's all kinds of stories as to what Ronnie was doing on the
I
plane.
saw Ronnie look me square in the eye. Billy come back there and wanted to change seats with one of us, and we were playing cards, and we all didn't want to quit playing cards. But yeah, the plane's going to crash, and we didn't want to quit playing cards. I swear. That's
You mean you
what I
knew it
remember.
was going to crash and you kept playing cards?
We knew it was running out of gas, and it was to the point where Billy felt uncomfortable and wanted to change seats with one of us, and he come back and we said, Billy, we're still playing cards, But it was a couple minutes after that, Ronnie walked back there and just stood there at the end of the last chair. I was pointing to the back of the plane. And he turned around to the back row and turned around and looked me right in the eye and just walked to the front of the plane. And I thought he was going to ask me. I thought he was going to ask me to change seats, which I would have done it. But no, he just. I thought for sure we were still playing cards when he walked back there. And so I guess at that point it was serious. And we were still playing cards, That's
Maybe
crazy.
he was just looking for an empty seat back there, and there wasn't. Were there any empty seats?
No, he came. No, he knew there was a problem, and he come walking to the back of the plane, and we're still sitting there playing cards. Now that I look at it, that was crazy. We're gonna have to ask Mark.
Did he have his hat on and everything? Do you remember?
That I don't remember. That the picture in my mind says that he did. The picture I have in my mind says he had that black hat on.
Wow.
The flashing picture in my mind tells me.
Well, that goes along with what Artimus said, pretty much, but not what Gene said. But maybe Gene didn't know that he got up out of his seat and
Gene was. He was in another world, man. He was walking up and down that plane. He was hysterical, and in his mind, he was just.
Well, you know what Gene told me?
He was losing it.
He goes, you got a plane, and when you're in the military, and he said, you've been on so many planes flying around, he says, and you got all these drug addicts and hippies and musicians and wannabe musicians. And he says, they don't realize what's getting ready to happen. He said, I knew what was getting ready to happen, but these people didn't know what was getting ready to happen. And that's why
he was going up and down the aisle. We're gonna crash down, get do all this, and then it's this,
I could see Gene doing that, man. I could see him.
I told those damn pilots that we're gonna crash,
He told him, he said, if we crash and you guys live, I'm gonna kick your ass. But who knows what you're going to do in a situation like that? That's for sure. So Palo Vincent, we get to the questions when we can, man. We're doing our best, we only got so much time, and there's
I haven't looked at the. I did a podcast damn Wednesday night. I did another podcast.
Yeah,
3 hours long.
The Outhouse podcast.
Outhouse, we're talking shit about shit. I just showed Automotive was there, and
I saw it on Facebook. I didn't watch it because it was kind of long, but
I wasn't prepared at all. I was just took me a while to get into it.
But they seem to be doing pretty good.
It was over 3 hours long. My God. I knew that guy Tom. Me and that guy Tom, one of the guys that does the show, we were stagehands. He went to school with Chad.
Yeah, he's been on our podcast.
Yeah, he was me and him worked for the stagehand union, and we did a bunch of shows together. We talked about doing wrestling shows and did all kind of shows, and then they just started that podcast in March, and they've already got 500 subscribers, but they're not monetized yet, but they've got 500 subscribers here in March, April, May, June, July, August.
Well, do they talk about fat people and flat Earth?
I don't know. Well, I was on that show one other time, and
are they
and
smoking
Automotive
weed?
said that's the most watched show that they've had, the one that I was on there. But I don't know. It's kind of weird they got that many subscribers in such a short time, and we've been stuck on. I don't even think we're at 2,200 yet.
I haven't looked. But then again,
either.
we get picked on, Craig. They pick on us, man.
Well, I told you, I said, oh, damn, I hit my pipe, my brass pipe last week. I forgot about it. And I said, and you said, oh, we'll check and see if they'll demonetize them. They nailed it. I hit my Wake and Bake mug, and they can't, AI can't pick up whether it's a
They
pipe
think it's a
or
coffee
a mug. So yeah, I smoke on that all I want, but they can't. They can't.
Yeah, that's kind of
recognize
crazy.
it.
I mean, how AI can differentiate all that stuff. But all right, Brian Gibbons, what happened to Gary's leg in that car accident he had where he had to use a cane?
Well, I guess he was in that car accident and he hit his knee or something on the. No, I think he hurt his foot. I don't remember. Yeah, he had to go to the hospital and get I think it was his foot.
Is that when he hit the oak tree?
God, I don't remember. I remember when he went into the hospital and got his foot operated on, because he'd call me up and ask me to bring him Butterfingers. I never got done to take him, but that's where he was in the hospital and he needed an acoustic guitar, and I asked him what he wanted, and he said he wanted a big body, a big body maple guitar. So I was looking around and found a big body, big Guild, and called Guild and said, "Hey man, Gary Rossington needs a guitar." So that's when I got him that Guild endorsement, and then that's when Alan had that white Guild, and
Oh yeah, the one that that they played that they
he was
recorded.
he was gonna have they were gonna have a Freebird or Alan Collins. They were gonna have an Alan Collins signature guitar. Guild was, yeah. But yeah, I got Gary that Guild endorsement when he was in the hospital. I got his foot operated on, and then they sent me sent Gary and Alan a bunch of guitar. I think maybe they sent Leon. I think they sent Leon an acoustic bass too. I'm almost positive. I remember getting Leon a great big Guild acoustic bass. I'm pretty sure I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that maybe that's when he hurt his foot, was in that car wreck, because he did have that cane right after that car wreck, so maybe that's what happened. He maybe hurt his foot in that car wreck, but I mean that car got totaled, so it's a good thing.
You're talking about when he was with walking with Ronnie and he had the cane.
I guess that's what, Brian's talking about.
Yeah, I got mixed up. I was talking about with Ross. With Ross and Collins. Yeah. I'm confused.
And I don't know how we got off onto well, you said you got him a guitar.
Well, he was in the hospital.
But that was during Rossin and Collins then.
Yeah, I was during Rossin and Collins.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, he probably banged his knee or something.
I got brain damage, man. You know, all those decades just kind of run together sometimes, you know.
Yeah. And then let me see. LS Freebird says, "What happened to Gene Odom? The Gene Odom interview at the end? Well, it's over." And then Sour User replied, "The Sour User, man, you said you were going to unsubscribe. What are you still watching for, man? I mean, you said here you are complaining, and she says." She says that the only good stuff they put on the podcast now is short. And she called Craig and I a couple dumbasses. Well, you must like it because you're watching, and you said you were going to unsubscribe. So we got a couple users.
I think that's pretty cruel, man. I was on a plane crash and got brain damage, and I'm trying to do this, and you want to make fun of me. I think that's
she
pretty
likes
cruel.
Us. She can't stop watching.
Calling me a dumbass.
Well, you keep watching, user, because I know you're addicted to it, or you
hurt my feelings.
You wouldn't be watching if you didn't like it. So you just keep watching. We got two users. We got sour user and sweet user. Sour user's she's got something wrong with her, but sweet user,
that's
nice
user.
guy.
This is the other user.
Yeah, he's cool.
Jimmy J, he's the other user, and Angie.
Well, sour user.
Angie.
Sour user's a liberal. She don't like Trump. she's a liberal, and she's got that whole I'd rather be a communist than vote for Trump thing. That's what's her problem. So go dye your hair purple and red and green, and and then you can maybe go to the Olympics. And Mike Neighbor says Mr. T will be assassinated before the election, in his opinion. Yeah, I don't doubt that, man. When you got so many corrupt people that are trying to stay in power, and you got one guy who's basically going to save the country, and this banana republic that we're living in now don't want to lose power, and so they might try to bump him off.
They killed Oswald. They killed Oswald right in front of our faces, and then they killed Kennedy right in front of our Bobby Kennedy killed him right in front of our faces.
Yeah, they shot Reagan.
They killed John Kennedy right in front of our faces. They've killed, and what's her name, Mrs. C. She's had 57 people killed.
yeah.
Who else? Oh, yeah, the cook. He found his fate out in he was drowned in the pond at one of them places. Yeah.
Well, it's no doubt about it that the country's been hijacked. It's been hijacked.
Haven't they identified that was actually a missile that went into the Pentagon? Haven't they took a picture of that and saw that it's a missile?
Well, I never saw any airplane parts laying on the ground.
I heard they got a picture of something that was a missile that I've identified it as a missile.
Well,
yeah, there's all kind of
they've been lying to us and feeding us bullshit, and
there's all kind of lies. Everything's a lie. Oh my God, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's people they don't care. They just want to go eat their McDonald's. And
well, I saw Musk on the Joe Rogan show say the Earth was flat.
Yeah. And and someone might think we're losing our mind if we agree to that, but I would say I don't know. I don't know.
Well, you cannot go to the South Pole. You cannot do it. Why? You can't do it.
They'll stop
go. You can't blow this. Go below the 60th parallel down there
because that's where all of the elites live.
You.
There's a Garden of Eden down there, and that's where the people that run the world live. And you're in this hamster cage, and they're watching you. So
people say, "Yeah, we circumvent the world, Earth, all the planet, all the time." No, we don't. You're brainwashed. It's never been done. For some reason. Why?
Yeah, one day they're going to go, that Stoned Roadie was right.
No, I'm just saying it's weird that you're not allowed to circumvent the Earth going south. You can't do it. You're not allowed. You know?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I was in the space program for
No
35
one is.
years.
No
And
one is.
I
No one's
watched them.
allowed.
I watched them launch rockets and space station parts and stuff like that. So I don't know what to say. But there's all kinds of stuff going on. I don't get it. Nicole Greasy says, I think it's Greasy. I could have butchered that. Sorry, Nicole. Says she watched an interview with Sally Arnold where Sally said she would like to reconnect with Leslie Hawkins. Was she able to do that, or is there anything you can do to make that happen? I believe I gave her Leslie's phone number. I think I did, but if uh if I didn't, I'm sure I told her I could. But I got to reach out to Sally and see when she wants to come back on the podcast. She might not want to. She might think that, we're a bunch of weirdo flat earthers, and she didn't know that. But Jeff asks Craig. He goes, so Craig you were never introduced to Ronnie. Their introduction was just kind of a happened passing. When we were talking about the first time that you talked to Ronnie when you came to work for him, and you were saying that there was one day that he kind of
No, I talked to her up there at the hotel when the band was up there and I was partying with them. I was talking to Ronnie.
yeah.
Yeah, before Ed asked me to join the band someday, and then before I showed up in Atlanta, I'd talked to Ronnie. It wasn't the first time we met or nothing.
How long did it take you before you realized that, Ronnie, you thought Ronnie would keep you around? Were you scared? Like, were you thinking, man, Ronnie's going to get rid of me?
I didn't intend on it to last very long anyways. I was just going to ride it out as long as it would last. You
didn't realize.
I just said, I was in Ohio and some woman called me and said, "Hey, meet me in Atlanta and go to the Lynyrd Skynyrd show. You met those guys, did you?" And I goes, "Yeah." And then I thought, well, Ed asked me, to be a roadie at one time. I'll just take a suitcase and get ready to go on the road. And that's what happened. I went to Atlanta and then I took off with them and went to Jacksonville. And we were down there in rehearsals for, God, I don't know, a couple weeks. And then me and Joe Barnes got in the van and drove it across the country to the record plant in L.A. And then we put the equipment in the record plant, and then when we were walking out, the band was already there. And when I was walking out, and then that's when I walked out of the record plant and ran into John Lennon. It was like right away. And then that's when the band came out and said, "Where'd John Lennon go?" He said, "He just went across the street with one of your roadies." And I had just started, and then the next day, that's when Ronnie was kind of weird toward me, when I at the hotel, I was gonna, and he was acting like he don't need to go over there, he don't do nothing,
Oh, like, why were you over there? Well, didn't he ask you to go over there with him? Didn't Lennon ask you?
Yeah.
What did he say? Hey, let's go over and grab a bite to eat.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just odd. I don't know. It was just a weird. Maybe it didn't. It was just. I just thought it was odd, but it just felt weird.
Oh, Patricia Lynn. Craig said Ronnie bit most people. What about Bob Burns? Somehow I bet he never
Bob
bit
was
Bob.
Bob was pretty tough. Bob was pretty tough. Bob would fight him.
Oh, would he?
Yeah. He didn't mess with Bob. Bob was pretty tough.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Bob was probably kind of half crazy too.
Yeah.
But they all like to fight though, right? I mean,
yeah. Well, there was a story about Ronnie beating on Bob's door, when they were doing something, and Bob went to the door and said, "What do you want, man? I don't want to fight you," or something like that, you know. And Ronnie said, "No, man, I hear you're a drummer. You want to be in my band or something like that. I don't know, some kind of story like that."
Oh, Joe Crimp told me that they used to wrestle all the time. Like, you know, they would just start wrestling and stuff and be fighting on the ground. And, you know, it was like nothing. Everybody would just start fighting on the ground and wrestling. He was telling me, I was like, really? I mean, I don't remember. I used to kind of do that, but not all the time. Jeff says, keep Craig off the internet. Mountains or tree stumps. LOL.
Do some research. You'll see it.
Yeah, you know, they say that there were giant there were giant trees, and those were petrified. They even had a big axe laying on top of one of the tree stumps.
Yeah.
I don't know.
A lot of these big rock formations are big turtles and big birds and eagles. It's crazy, man. Dragons, yeah, big.
Some of these big buildings have these huge doors, and they're saying, "Well, why were these doors so big? Because there were giants back then."
Yeah. Oh, they've got skeletons of them, stuff, but all that stuff's hidden. You're not allowed to know about that stuff.
If you believe in dinosaurs,
hides it. There's so much stuff that's hidden, medicine and the sound things, the frequency, what do they call it? Frequency something. Frequencies cure a lot of anxiety and stuff. You know, they took all the bells that they used to have, those bells in all the churches and stuff, and they gathered up and took those all out of the communities. They were that certain frequencies do things to mellow people out or whatever. I don't know. Frequencies.
Well, they want to make you sick and sell you drugs to make you feel better. That's their plan. And
that ivermectin does a lot of stuff, man. I guess I was looking at some stuff where I guess people have parasites in them, and that ivermectin kind of kills them, and you poop them out or whatever. Everybody's got parasites in them, which there's supposed to be all kind of shit on everything. The little bitty bugs you can't, like bananas, and there's supposed to be all kind of shit and stuff we eat. I guess it's got to go inside you.
There was somebody who was asking, "Hey, how's Wheelchair Chuck and Cousin Figel? Have you heard from them lately, Craig?"
No, I need to. I was just thinking that before we started this, I needed to call him today. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen him put anything in the comments or anything, and then on these last comments, I didn't see any Kimmy on there. So yeah, well, you know, I mean, maybe they want to take a break. Larry Tate says Ron Eckerman in his book is very interesting, more evidence that the folks who surround Skynyrd are as fascinating as the band. Yeah,
I like the audio book. If you can get a hold of that audio book, that's, you know, I like the audio book. He does like 25 voices or something like that. Different voices. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he does he does Leon, and he does, you know, he does everybody's.
Imitates them?
Yeah, imitates them.
They imitate Billy?
Yeah. Yeah, and when Gary lit the funny one he does of Gary is when Gary was in that hotel and had the fake fireplace, and he put a candle in there on top of the fake log for ambience, and the candle burnt down, and then it caught the log on fire and set the fire alarms off, and everybody had to evacuate the hotel.
Who was it that put the candle there?
Gary.
It was Gary.
Gary put it in the fireplace, and it burnt down and caught the log on there, but it didn't have a chimney in it, you know. So,
right.
you know, it set the alarms off.
What did he do? Fall asleep or something with it in there?
Yeah,
or-
I guess. Yeah.
Oh
Probably.
God. And Angela Leonard says she is ready for the power outage. I got a Patriot generator and 3 sets of solar panels. It's coming. It's coming. Something's coming.
Oh
I can tell you
yeah.
right now. I don't know what it's going to be, but I guarantee it's
That's
going to
how
be
they're
something.
gonna. That's how they're not gonna have an election. They're gonna shut down the power grid so nobody can do anything.
Well, if they
That's
think
my
that,
opinion. We'll just have to see what happens. It's the truth will be known here in the next 100 days or less. Yeah, what's gonna happen is gonna happen here in the next 100 days. So buckle up, Buttercup, and get your popcorn. It's gonna be amusing.
yeah, I mean, if they think the cackler is going to win, then they'll shut it down. They'll release
Oh
a new
God,
virus
we're
or
in
something.
trouble.
RLH says the paragraph that you were looking for about Dean, that was page 17. Yeah, if you go into Ron's book, and if anybody wants to try to find anything else about Dean or anything that's interesting in here that you want to discuss, and of course, don't forget Sally Arnold's book. This is another good book. I've been kind of picking around in here, looking in that book too. Um, so yeah, lots of great books out there. I got so many of them, and I just don't have time to read them. I guess if I go on the road, I could do I could do the audio book. Ron Eckerman, I could listen to that on the way. I think you can get it off of Amazon. John Hartline asks, is there something that shows the actual route of the plane's descent where you can see the pipeline? So
No,
we can,
I've looked for that so I could do my simulator. I can't. I'm not a good enough navigator to find it. I've tried to. There is an actual. There is an actual YouTube thing where a guy goes and flies over it, but it's not a very good representation. I've tried to follow it, and I can't do it.
I was looking at our drone footage to see if I could see something of it on there, but I didn't see it. And you went and looked at it. It's still there, right? The pipeline's still there.
James took me, yeah, James took me and showed me the exact route where we came in. Yeah, I was looking at the whole pipeline, and then yeah, it's like that US 55. It's right there too. We could have both of those would have been adequate to put that plane down. Why they didn't, it's
Yeah,
doesn't make sense to me.
Heartline says, I always thought if I was experienced pilot gliding a dead aircraft down, I would have avoided the trees. What the F? There's I read something where there's the pilots, they sometimes try to use the trees to slow their descent.
Oh, I don't know. Why would you do that? I don't know.
Well, like if you're approaching a field, then you might want to
That plane
skim.
was saved. That was why I wasn't scared or nothing, because it would, as long as you wasn't over tree. That's what they told us. As long as you're not over trees or water, you're cool. And we were over trees. That's the least place you want to be. Just land in a field somewhere. I mean,
They were trying to make the field, but that's what they said in those tapes.
that pipeline was perfectly. We were flying right down that pipeline. I was looking out the damn window. That's what I don't understand. But
was it wide enough to fit the wings?
Yeah, well, yeah, that was wide enough.
Maybe that's what
when we
worried.
landed, I thought, if we go get a little wobbly, I said we might knock the wings off of it. But yeah, it's plenty.
Were there any telephone poles in there or anything?
No, it's trees on both sides.
No, just a vacant.
Well,
land.
there were. We did go over highways where that pipeline goes over. You do have to watch where the highways are because of the wires. But as long as there's no wires on there. Yeah, James took me right there. I was standing there. I goes, God, this would have been a perfect place to land that plane, right in this pipeline.
They probably didn't know exactly how much fuel they had. They were probably guessing. And once that one engine went out, they probably knew that they were done.
Well,
And
as soon as we left the pipeline and banked to the left, it wasn't a minute after that we started hitting those pine trees. You know, that's when the
well,
engine went
we're
out.
never gonna know for sure.
No,
Um, Gonzo says Craig is correct. Baba Louie was the guitar roadie for El Kabong.
Yeah, he was.
Uh, Mike Neighbor says Griff, uh, paint that iconic Trump photo. I think they would sell like hotcakes. Oh, what are you talking about, Mike? That one where he's got blood on his cheek and the flag in the background and the I remember seeing that because I used to do wedding photography and I kind of have an eye for photography and when I saw that picture of a Mr. T coming off the stage with the flag in the background and the blood on his face, I said that's going to be a picture for the records right there. Then that guy that took that picture, they say, is the same guy who took the picture of Bush when he got word that the trade tower or the World Trade Center towers fell. So that's kind of weird right there. That's the same guy that took Bush's picture. That might be a little, I don't know about that one. That's kind of too coincidental. Steve Jones says, "Did you know the cackling hen has an ad on the podcast? I have to listen for 5 seconds before I can hit skip." Yeah, the cackling vice president is got commercials on our podcast. Craig, do you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they must know that we're talking trash about them and they're getting back at us. Sweet user says, I live in the Tennessee Valley in the foothills of the Smokies. If things get worse in the next 4 years, good people are going to start doing bad things. Yeah, I can see that. I think there's going to be a point when you shove so much stuff down somebody's throat and they're just going to snap, especially when they start getting to a point where they can't afford things and they're struggling trying to feed their family. And, they're pushing this woke agenda down your throat. And eventually you're going to go, you know what? I've had enough. And it hadn't reached that point yet, but it's going to come.
Like Popeye says, I've had all I can stands and I can't stands no more.
Yeah.
And that's when you eat your spinach.
That's when he squeezes the spinach open.
I've had all I can stands and I can't stands no more. There you go. There's one.
But you notice olive oil isn't fat either, Craig. So
Nobody used to be fat till they started making all that artificial fructose stuff.
Yeah, that fructose, that's some bad stuff, man.
And you'll have people go, all that is sweetener from corn. No, there's just people that'll just argue about anything.
Well, they're putting this lady, I know she was looking at, it was Pepsi Max underneath a microscope. And she goes, yeah, there's nanoparticles. They're putting nanoparticles in the Coke.
You're not supposed to sleep with a cell phone plugged in near you.
Yeah, I know. I'm guilty of that.
Radiation. Yeah, you don't sleep with a cell phone that's plugged in near you.
I'm guilty of that one. I think
that 5G stuff all this wireless stuff, you're better off using that as little as possible. That stuff is not good for you.
Yeah, I'm
What
guilty
they
of that,
say,
I'll have to
who
say.
they are, I don't know. That's what I hear. But better be safe than sorry.
Jim Jenkins says, I love your show. You guys make a great team, but I'm a little confused. I think I'm number 2 on the list, but I don't think I ever won. So you remember me. I hung out with Crawdad Band in the 70s until Steve joined Skinner, so maybe you will remember me now. Who's number 2 on the list, Craig?
I
That's
have to
Jim
find the
Jenkins says
list.
that he thinks he's number 2 on the list, and I don't think he thinks that you think that. Maybe I don't know.
I have to look. I thought number 2 won something.
Yeah, and
Jim Jenkins. Yeah,
did he win something?
yeah, he did. Yeah. Well, no, was it him or Jimmy J? I don't remember. Remember, because when one of them won, I said, because Jimmy J is number 3 and Jim Jenkins is number 2.
You thought
And
they
I
were
went-
both the same, didn't you?
And I went, "Hey, are you the same person?" And then Jimmy J is the guy. They're different people. Yeah.
Well,
Jim Jenkins is number 2.
Well, Jim Jenkins, send Craig an email and straighten that out, man. Just send him an email, and you guys can.
Well, no,
work
he's
that
number
out.
2. Jim Jenkins, he is number 2. Yeah.
But he didn't win anything.
I don't know. I
You
got
don't
him
have it
marked
marked
down.
down. You have it marked
Yeah,
down.
I'll have to go back and look at the. Look, I do have him marked down as.
You have him marked down as number 2, but you don't know if he won or not. He's
Yeah.
wanting to know if he won or not. That's what.
Yeah,
the
it's one
question
of
is.
them I got confused on. You know, we've got confused with those those numbers that were close to. Yeah, we got him confused with Jimmy J and Jim Jenkins. I don't remember which one we pulled.
Well, send Craig an email and let Craig investigate it, and we'll whatever it is that we got to do. If we screwed up, we'll make it right. Rock on, that's your buddy in the capital letters. Says, I don't take offense to Craig or Griff's comments. It's all in good fun. Peace. Turn it up. I'm not fat, but did date a fat girl. My first name is Charlie, so just address me as capital letters Charlie. I ain't mad. I ain't mad at you, Rock on. You know, you seem like you just playing around. You know, you ain't like that.
I
user.
refuse to read that stuff in all caps. It's hard for me to read in all caps.
Somebody in here said that he didn't see well. That's why he does it in caps. I mean,
Well,
maybe
you
that's
can
what-
read it. I don't pay no attention to it.
Yeah, don't worry about it, Rock on. We're good, man. Don't worry about it. You're all right.
I won't erase you no more. I'll just let Griff.
Yeah, you're good to go, buddy. You're all right. You're not like that user, you know. User needs to turn over a new leaf or just unsubscribe like she said she was going to. And Autumn Honecker, I was born and raised in Harlan, Kentucky. I actually live at my mom and dad's old place. Us Appalachians are sick of the way things are and the way Biden has made it 1,000 times worse. I know people that have to choose between their medication and food. We're extremely hardworking folks that mostly work in the coal mines. Mr. T 2024. Yeah, Autumn. As a matter of fact, Chad Lane, who is in Six Gun, with our buddy Zach Lane, he worked in the coal mines, and that's some hard work, man. But I don't think I could do it, to be honest with you. That's like they're down there for like 12-hour shifts and stuff, and and sometimes they have cave-ins, and I actually think Chad had to help bring some dead folk out of those mines before, and so it's a pretty nasty job. But yeah, people don't like to go work their ass off in a mine just to come out, with a little bit of money and can't buy any groceries and medication for their family, and that frickin' Mr. B is just running crap into the ground. So I'm with you, man. When you start pissing those Appalachian boys off, and they're going to
Well,
start coming out of these hollers and out of these old little towns, and they're going to start raising hell, man.
well, Mr. T won in 2016. They didn't think he was going to win, and then he got more votes in 2020 than he did in 2016. But they stole it
Yeah.
from him in 2020. They had the machines were broke, and blah, 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 blah. It was days before they gathered up enough votes. Okay, we finally got enough votes that we manipulated and beat him, and it's just he should be the president now, and none of this would be going on. But yeah, it's yeah, yeah.
If they wouldn't have
Like
stole
I
the
said,
election,
it's gonna get interesting. What happens here between now and then? It's gonna get very interesting. But I can almost guarantee you're gonna lose your power. They're gonna take the power grids down.
it's
That's
going to be
the
catastrophic, whatever it
you know
is.
when they take the power grids down, everybody's gonna freak. It's gonna be mass chaos, man.
I
Just
think it's going to be kind of
take
neat.
away everybody's internet and you take away everybody's cell phones, they'll go berserk. I mean,
Yeah.
there's gonna be any communication. The power's gonna go down. Everything's gonna be shut down. There'll be nothing open because there's no power nowhere. It's gonna be there. You'll be no food. Your refrigerators will shut off. Yeah, in 3 days it's gonna be absolutely chaos, and yeah, it's all they gotta do.
Well, just think about it, like where you live and say where Chad lives, your son. I mean, you're not going to be able to be in touch. He's not going to know. You're not going to know how he's doing. You're not going to know. He's not going to know how you're doing. And like if you have a family member, they could live 10 miles away, and that might as well be, you know, 100 miles away. You're not going to be able to call them. You're not going to be able to go, hey, man, what's going on? You're going to be like on your own. And for me, I've got 2 months food supply and I got 2 months water. I think I've watched enough Naked and Afraid. I think I can survive, Craig.
Yeah, I got radios too. I can communicate with the outside world. It might be not be people I know, but at least I know what's going on.
Yeah, you got that CB.
No, I've got every frequency there is on the ham radio stuff. I don't have licenses, but I can listen to this stuff. I don't want to talk to anybody anyways, during an emergency I'll listen, but I'm not going to tell them.
You'll be like that guy in that movie, The War of the Worlds, and Tom Cruise went in the basement and he had to kill him because he was trying to. He was all crazy, and he had his gun and he was shooting at the tripods. You'll be that guy. You ever seen that movie War of the Worlds?
Seems like I have, but I don't remember that part. No.
Yeah, you'll have to look at that. That's a good one. Well, that's the last question, Craig. Last comment, and thanks for all the comments and questions, and keep them coming. And have a good weekend, and we'll see you Monday morning.
Yeah, yeah. Let's get out of here. I'm gonna start getting. I was talking to Griff. I'm gonna start getting my telescope together and start looking around the universe, the flat little universe. All righty. Well, yeah. Happy trails to you until we meet again, and see you later, alligator at the wild crocodile. And We'll call that a wrap. Cut.
Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep token until then.